this is what's gonna be. Let's see. It is morning, I'm very tired. You're gonna see me working like a factory worker. I do have a confession to do that. Sometimes there are things that as a programmer I should have been automating. And you might find me doing this sometimes. I used to also unroll code. I was curious about optimizing something crazy and I needed to enroll 80 times and I would just copy 4, 8, 10 times 8 and just go and type like this. Things that could be sometimes be like, hey, why don't you write some code and automatically generates? It would be something that I wanted to automate once. Like very few data that I felt it would take me more time to write an automated script than do it. And it's not like I was doing it lightly. I was feeling guilty. 8, 12, 6. No, some of them are bigger. I was feeling guilty because I know in the nerd culture, it's not even about the nerd culture. It's like if you do that, you're stupid. You are like a stupid factory worker. Okay. It's antithetical. If you have some sense of, I don't know, being a nerd that matters. No, and the lines. I have commented out the lines for some. For some object I never generated lines, but we're gonna put them now so that there is something. Maybe that's why it got it wrong. Let's see why it got it wrong. I had an idea. It should still be able to figure it out. So let's see if I can do this thing and talk at the same time because I'm really bad at this. And this is something that I'm not gonna do it forever now. If I had hundreds of object definitions, and or if in the future I'm gonna get more, oh god, more data, maybe you need the automated tool. But if it's just I want to grab those object once, and I feel I'm not good with writing things that manipulate text, although it wouldn't be that hard in this case. Go find the comma separator, read those labels, get this object UFO to. I must have done mistakes too. Get those three labels, get this one so that you grab the first value. I want the first value to be above. This is the number of points. This is the number of lines and the number of polygons. So I wanted to get some old assembly definition from assembly, from my Z80 from my CPC demo. I wanted to grab those objects to reuse them in a C engine on PC. Remove the labels, and now of course the first step is like that. Later I read these things in a sequence in my C code to write them in a more proper mesh struct. But now I just wanted like this. I wanted the in my C code the number of points, lines, and polygons to start like this, so that I don't have to do some text manipulation and text sets, which I always find more tedious. Whether it's C now, I find it tedious in Python. I'm not familiar with Python. Polygons are unique because it's like it's a number that says the next three values is no, this polygon has three points and these are the indices. This polygon has 4 points. And I can handle. I can read the first value, know that I have to read the rest and be done. They might be 18 objects. Am I wasting time? I might be wasting time. I want to see at the end how much. Also, it's mesmerizing. I tend to do that. So I tend to do that. That it's if as a programmer you don't automate things, something is wrong with you. No, you know what? Many times I do automate things. I write code that generates unroll code and generates assembly code, or extract something I wanted to extract. So I I'm fine with automate, but sometimes I feel it's not so obvious. These are the material. It's not so obvious that I will start doing this now. Will it take me more to just type those and be done with? Because I'm not gonna grab anymore. Okay, that's why. The line indices came later. I now see why it's screwed up. But I know it. But the definition will, yeah, So I'm gonna finish this and I'm gonna tell you why I did that. And I'm ranting. Now, did I move those there? I didn't. So in this object I have put the line data later when I should have put them here because that's the order I expect. Yeah, I guess now I understand because yesterday I thought, okay, the AI, why did the AI screw this object? Because the order was different. But it's an AI, it should have known. It should have been smart because as a programmer, I can I can see it while I'm doing this work. I can check it, or even if I write something, I can easily figure out that. And I'm doing the worst factory. Okay, the other thing is the comment. The thing is, I would have to notice and go back to the AI and say, hey, sorry, in my data there was something else, and those are materials, but the way I have them, all of these are materials. Automation. I'm doing the manual labor work. How dumb of me. I do this and sometimes I don't. It's not that I haven't done some automated stuff, automated extraction of data, generation of code, and I didn't love it. I did love it. It's just sometimes, again, sometimes you will find me doing this and my mind is lost. I'm mesmerized. I'm mesmerized by being a factory worker. It might seem, why am I looking that? I know I might mess it myself too. Cube Star Lines was okay. Now these are commented out because I ended up not wanting them. And how would the AI know? Actually, it seems that Grok tried to do something about that, but failed in other ways. Yeah. I guess I'm a bit stubborn. I'm also anti game design these days. I'm anti all the popular wisdom or something. Because it becomes so popular and then people think this is the only right way, and if you're doing it in another way, it's wrong. I'm anti game design in the extremes. What is the worst thing people talk about? I don't know, Dark Souls 2. Yes, here these are later, but oh, okay, I'm gonna. But here I have it first. Why wouldn't it see? Hey, this is the order. Let's grab that one. And then it's not like I have this thing later also. Yeah, I guess this is getting long. I'm gonna count the minutes later. Did it matter? Now this will have to come after the points. Most of them are just a line definition so that it doesn't crash. Because I wasn't using lines. Minus one. I didn't bother, and even those objects I did it by hand. Now I might generate actually the lines in some code by going. I've done this before, going to the nearby polygons. In my C code later. I didn't do this on the Amstrad CPC, and even those polygons I would manually be typing. I didn't go for, I don't know, using Blender and extract, and these indices are special also. They are like coordinates, but they are not really coordinates. They are indices in a grid cube. That must be the last. Now here is where the AI screwed up again, and it doesn't make sense to me. So in this object, I started with say minus one, minus one, minus one, one, minus one, minus one, and then I wanted to make it bigger, and this is done because I could have written it was in assembly, and I was bored. Why did I even do that? And I added a minus two everywhere, and the plus two, just as a hack to expand the object. So it's 64, 148. I could have written some code reading the vertices and other stuff. Although at some places I add a plus 2 instead of a minus 2. So it could have been more complicated in a way, but not too hard. But then you can type it like this. You don't need to find this the plus machine. It doesn't have to be a number. And I told the AI do this, and it screwed up this one because it saw the plus minus and it put some. And I told it has this format. Now, personally, I would have searched for the commas for the delimiter and grab whatever. I could be like A, B, C there. That could be defined. Why would you care about that? And it would just be a matter of finding the label and searching the commas. And again, what I'm doing is very here. Look, plus 8, very boring. At least ChatGPT did it right the second time or the third time I asked, but then there were more. I could have continued and asked more, like, hey, I noticed that something else got screwed up because of this and that. But you get lazy with these machines. You get lazy. Here are my mesh data. Oof. How much did it take me? I don't know. Now, is it gonna work? Oh, I didn't delete the data. Ah, no, I have data. Okay, then data. That's what I ask. I want to compare it. I'm using automation there. I could go and do that. Go and do that. See, I talk about automation. Automation is good. Good. Now, can you do? I don't know. Oh, yes, you can do. Now, some of this automation you might do more than you think. Just put this so that it's equal, so that I see in the comparison. Ah, did I? I must have needed to put that. Yeah, of course. Damn, what an idiot. Else it will. Yeah, okay, these are spaces. I know these are like this because I manually changed them later for another reason. For a bit plane reason. These are things I changed manually. The materials, the colors selected. Ah, and see, the thing did the calculation and made it for me. I guess it looks better. So we did it. We did it and yeah, I did something. Listen on. Automation. I'm not always doing this. I used to do it more. Let's see it. Okay. Now you see the back face, the front face. That's the data are converted. It's fine. Line ID aliasing. It's actually slow in real. If I put 286, the aliasing is slower than. This might be a roundabout AI and automation. Now, of course, if I didn't ask the AI for more, I manually, because I'm doing something with HGA now, and I have issues with I'm sorting polygons back to front, but of course you're working in bit planes. Some convex object can be saved by changing the materials. So, like the example, the lens, the one that has a 3 is the one in the back, but if it has a value of 1, but others that are non-convex, I have some issues. And why do I have two of them? I don't get it. Yeah, now this is correct. Let's go. The glance, for example, the red polygons, the back face, I try to change the material manually by hand, by understanding my objects and understanding what I want to do. I say change it to bit plane 1 and actually color 1, and the green must be bit plane 1 and 2, color 3. I do render, although it might not have made a difference in this case. Or maybe it would. It would. I render back to front. I'm sorting back to front the polygon so that I render back to front, but still, you need the right bit planes for some objects. And because I write the red, I fill the bit plane 1. When the bit plane, the green, color 3, bit plane 1 and 2 on, is going to render, it's gonna fill bit plane 1, but it was already filled in the red place, in the place of the red polygon, and bit plane 2, so it will be overlapping and there is no problem. Now those objects are okay because they are convex and nothing will overlap. Now this one, things partially overlap, and unless I set the further away polygons, I do some depth shading by distance, it's gonna look bad, but I wanted to colorize it in a different way. This goes because the red is the lowest, the green is the next, the blue is the color 7, 1, 2, 3 bit planes on. It happened that this torus object never needed even polygon sorting, I would say. I diverted. This is something I was working in EGA. I started doing EGA stuff, and if you look at Grok, even that. Maybe I'm writing too long and people will say, your prompt is not succinct. It's not brief. But then if you write too little, you're not giving enough information. I think this whole prompt engineer is wishful thinking anyway. But I will admit I'm using AI too, but I'm using give me some idea of how things work. I've never done EGA graphics before. Explain me. And then based on my knowledge I know, oh, okay, so you are sending there are these ports and you select them. Ask okay. And then I try it. Now it gives you code. I don't go and copy paste the code. But if I have a problem, I might look at the code and say, what am I doing wrong? So I'm trying that here. Now, I'm not using put pixel everywhere. It's just a test routine to make it work. I had to do it in write mode too, of course, because I wanted to, with a bit mask, to write with write mode 0. Even if I use a bit mask, it will clear the nearby pixels. It will clear the planes I have selected to affect. And with write mode 2 you have to also read. And I'm asking, it writes too much, but I'm asking to understand some things, and maybe I don't read everything. I wish it was more brief to the point. TLDR joke version, yeah. Got any other cursed optimizer surprise for you? It can give you good information sometimes. I can say I tried it and it didn't work. And it tells you later. You have to read in that mode too. You have to read the byte to load whatever was in the video RAM in the latches so that it blends together with the pixel you want to write. You write the pixel and the other values are remaining. Else it's not gonna work. But then I said because I was writing in C and I was doing that. I figured that out myself. I was like, why doesn't it work? And I needed volatile because the optimizer was I was doing this is a dummy read, okay? So that the EGA write modes work. And I was like, it doesn't work. And then I put a volatile. I remember something. The optimizer is like, you're not using this lol anywhere. I'm doing a dummy read and then I'm writing whatever value. I'm still confused about something on EGA, about these write modes. And I tried to figure it out later, but AI didn't help. I have to actually read some good document for certain things. So it's not always helpful, but it's like I'm struggling. Give me something so that I think about it. Sometimes I figure out through the conversation, but I'm wasting so much time. And there was, okay, here we go about the video I was doing. I did the worst thing that a programmer would do. I took those data and I was manually adding it. I want to say that back in the past, I was very excited about unrolling things and figuring out. And I would sometimes, let's see if I can find it. Maybe I'll do it. Yeah, like here, for example. Okay, hold it. And I've done it. I have to admit that I would sometimes, but I think people sometimes do it. It's not a go. It's not like I do it every time. I would sometimes go here Here I unroll. Okay, because it's 8 times unroll, why would you write a generator for that? Now you could write some macro, but it's like an extra. I would be like, no, it's good to write some macro, and sometimes I write some, but I might just go try to write it, and a macro is okay. I would be writing this, and then it would be, oh man, that's so good. I ran it. Now I'm going to make it faster. Oh, I'm gonna unroll it. Oh, and I'm gonna go like, oh, go here, and I will be mesmerized. Plus one, plus two, plus three, plus four, plus five, plus six, plus seven, and I don't remember what was there. Ah, it's x plus two, not y. Yeah. Whatever. Now I cannot focus, and then I would go, oh, what if I do? What if I do more? No, more is unnecessary. Am I wasting my time? Maybe. And I would be like, oh, guy, 9. Oh, now I have to write 10, 11, 12. I would do the thing that is a guilty, like, not a guilty pleasure. When they say you are some metalhead who listen to some pop song, but you want to do it incognito without anyone ever. See, and I would be like, I was like, oh, 568, 70, oh, 1000. Okay, it's very unreliable. This thing is very unreliable. I would even move it here. See, now this is faster. Oh, 170. Oh. I will do silly things without caring if that makes me seem not professional. I'm not professional. I'm an artist. I'm a coder artist. I don't care. Oh, we did 170 something. Now we did 160 something. I don't unroll over 8 times, and it doesn't even matter because even if I didn't unroll, I'm just doing silly tests now. And I would find myself, and there was one time I would be doing that, plus 8, plus 9, and I reached 320. I did it for 320, and I was mesmerized for half an hour. I was mesmerized. Nobody was watching. I would feel ashamed not automating these things, but sometimes I go there. Of course, now when I generate big things, I big unroll codes for other things that you're not gonna type them manually. Of course, I'm gonna generate it, but sometimes when I want to generate something small, so I will see later how much did this take me to manual, because that day I'm like, I started doing this for an object. I took this and I manually converted into this, which is just, see, the beginning of the label has the number of points, number of lines, and number of cubes. Those two I want to move them in the beginning, and then the rest, grab the rest without the labels manually. You wouldn't even need to care about these labels. Yeah, you would need to care about that in this label you have this number and you don't want to cross over. Now, if from a string you take this, and this, you delete them from the string and you move them above, like I did, then the rest is straightforward. Then the rest is you just take the data. Now, I guess it didn't delete it. It had to search for the labels so that it skips one value and goes to the next. And then you have to grab and use the commas. And I ask it and say, okay, I have a Python script. And I'm like, okay, I heard AI is really much better now, especially for such simple tasks. And the Python, which I never read, I'm not familiar with Python. The point is not to give me the Python and spend the next 20 minutes to understand it. Maybe 5, maybe 10 minutes. Now this is a regular expression. I don't know about regular expression. This seems like Chinese to me. So I got it and said, hey, maybe I shouldn't be doing this thing. I did it only for one object. And then I thought, what would be a greater use of AI? Now I have an idea also. I have an idea of an alternative I could have done. And I ran it. I'm not gonna run it now. It says you're gonna get this output. I ran it, and this is my output, man. This is my fucking output. It didn't made one op squad data with all the numbers. It did for every label, even what data, 0, 0, 0. It didn't even follow. It doesn't matter. I like those types. I don't like to type underscore t personally. So I always have a type def. I have this type def. I don't know, no, because I have to press shift on one side of the keyboard and I have to use both my hands. And I do it like this because I also don't like to write int is fine, but then unsigned int. Also you can write unsigned, just unsigned, I realize. But I don't want to write unsigned and mean unsigned int. What about unsigned sort and unsigned char? I don't want to write char and unsigned char. And maybe chars are weird sometimes in compilers. It's 7-bit, it's 8-bit, I don't know. And size 8 8 underscore t int underscore 8 underscore t might be better. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just an artist. I'm not a professional programmer in this aspect. I'm just a coder artist, I realize. And I don't want to look like. Now, if you wanted to look like a professional, sometimes you could endorse AI. You would be like, it makes me more productive. I use all the latest tool. Like I use all the latest framework. That's also, I realize that's also a reason why somehow I am very reluctant to use later stuff. And that might be a negative. Okay, you might say that's bad. I'm reluctant to go into other languages, other operating system, new framework, because I know it's gonna be a pain. Now I might learn something if it's not necessary. If with the basic tool, just with C, and I mean my project is C++ because of the few extra things I'm used to. Like it's CPP, but I'm still using malloc. And there are some other CPP code that I decided, use new. You are on CPP now. Use new. It's nicer. I don't know. But then I forgot here because I wanted to make this work. I wanted to make this work by sign dots. The other are benchmarks. The dotted plasma. This is a benchmark to see the throughput. This is some other sort pattern thing. Also, by the way, this is high resolution. 640 by 350. I also have the low resolution version. And it's screwed up. And I tell it, got it. It has some explanation. It gives you another code. Now, I stopped there because I ran it and got this again for some reason. And it would be interesting to look at the code, but you know what? So today I'm gonna check at the end of the video. I did this manual shit. I did this manually, and I swear it might have taken less minutes. And I was also talking. If I was more focused, it would have taken even less. I would be in a flow where I'm typing and I'm like a factory worker. Now, obviously, if I had 100 objects, I would be like, no, guy, don't do this for an hour straight. Make a tool. And that's where I thought, again, I'm going back to the original point. Hey, everybody's talking about AI and everybody's talking you should be using AI. And I said, this is a great use of AI. You want to convert that stuff, you could ask it and get something in 2 minutes. Anyway, the thing is, I asked ChatGPT. ChatGPT did a much better. Oh no, I don't have it. See, I'm using AI a lot. I'm just asking it random stuff. I'm just asking it. It's not like I'm not using it. And I'm using it to ask things, but I'm using it for idea. I never write this code for me, and I'm just gonna slot it in my. Uh, 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 except of this case where I say I just got something to convert this data, and this is not never gonna enter the code base. So if it does it, if I ask and I get in 1 minute what I want, that would be good. Now, because I asked Grok and I went back and forth and then I asked this, and because when you do that, when people do that, they are curious about the AI and they stop working. It breaks the flow. You stop working on your actual thing and you start being curious. Why does this AI break it and this AI works? So even if it gets it now, this actually got it. In other cases, I thought Grok was better, but you know what? They are all doing the same thing. And I use the same, I just copy paste I didn't change my prompt. It's like I have this data, I manually converted this, okay, I guess there's some space when I copy and make something. Okay, I asked maybe write it in Python. Python is much easier, blah blah blah. It wrote something. I haven't checked it. It was smaller. The first thing in Grog was bigger as code. Yeah, it does something similar here. Why did it? I'm curious now. Now, I don't want to spend time. I'm not familiar with Python, and even if I read, I'm not gonna see it directly. I'm just curious what are the similarities? No, wait. I'm just a little bit curious. Much bigger in Grog. The text section here, Mike. Not swap panels. Where is it now? Oh, I see this section header, the text section headers. If line starts with obs, maybe that's your mistake. No, it reads the line and goes to the next. Now it did it in one loop. Lines. Again, that's Current section equals point counts append line size. Yeah, it does quite different thing. And why does it do that? Also, I noticed something in this one. You might so notice if not line or line starts with this is a comment. I never gave it in my data. Interesting. But it's not like the AI's thing. It's like they scrapped from some code that also accounted for that. As you see, some of my data, I had comments. Now I wanted to uncomment this, I uncomment the manual, but this one I didn't want to add this. It's like I was testing some different sizes, -2 instead of -1. So it's okay that if it see those comments, it doesn't use these lines. It skips them. Some places have spaces. You might have to account for that. However, those one I went and uncommented them manually because I still want them even if I don't know why it's doing that. And it one saw that it worked. It was much smaller. I tried it for the single file. It did give me that. I gave it first. I tried it with a single file, with a simple object. I didn't try it with the whole thing. So I only grabbed the ops squad, saved it in a separate text file, and tried. I started small, you know. And it says before I even asked, because that was the next thing because I wanted to give the whole text file and do everything, and I'm like, perfect. That was exactly the next thing I wanted to ask it. After I did, see, so even with Grok, I didn't give it the whole file. I gave it the first thing, and then I gave the whole file. Now the whole file has the comments, the style, and I'm telling it my file is like it has this continuous object, blah blah blah, and it still gives a small, much smaller than Grok. It did a better work. Example language. It always got very useful for demos and tools. And I got this. I didn't even told him why. Mistook section I was called point as new object. So it worked for okay. So I went like 3 times with this. See now, again, what's the point? I was doing this manually. I was doing it the whole time. I was working like a factory worker. I was typing like a factory worker with this few data. Now, if the data were massive, I wouldn't even have. I would have written a tool myself, or maybe I could babysit the LLMs. And I was working with it, and I bet it took me less time than ask Grok, and then maybe I could ask ChatGPT and got it. Okay, this got it faster, and it also interrupts your flow in a way. It's like you start playing with with those the LLMs, the AI. Let's call them LLMs. And you end up being curious. Oh, why did this thing make that and that? And you waste time. And then, was I working on something or not? I'm not even. Why is it? It's talking. You are doing something on Z8 and you can do HL++ instead of pointer offset. The thing is, all I did was extracting my CPC object to use on the EGA, on the DOS EGA experiment. But it tells me, oh, you want to do an Amstrad CPC demo? I hate these extra shows. Like, I didn't tell you what I want to do. You are even off. You're, you're so smart. Small demoscene team. No. And now it finally. Yeah, and one didn't work because I had this. Now, why did it check for arithmetic? Why can you not just get the commas? There's gonna be somewhere that it checks if it's a number. Maybe in the regular expression. I don't know. There's a lot of regular. It should have worked with this data. As I told you, for some reason here I had plus minus. However, if you get the separated commas, if you get the things in between, it's still gonna work. This thing works on my C code. I didn't need to do the. Okay, I guess the AI fixed it after many times. But I didn't got my data. I wanted my data. I had to ask it again. Why? Yeah, okay. Oh my god, it got the numbers. It converted string. Why can you in C? I would look again, as I said. I could have something like this, and this could be a macro. I could have some defined, and I might have wanted to preserve it, and my code would just search. It would search for all the commas and just grab the whatever. It wouldn't care. It wouldn't care if it's a number, if it's a plus minus. You could have a much easier converter without all these bugs. And it would have looked ugly on the other side, but it would have worked. See, my intention is different than the LLM intention. I would have done something different. I would have still written it in C. I was just the idea is why spend 10-15 minutes? I'm not good with string manipulation, guys. And string comparison. Every time I do string comparison, I'm like, okay, stress CMP. No, that's JavaScript. Okay, go here. I'm searching. What do I need? And this also confused me. I'm not. If you ask me in an interview, here is a string, write some code in C that grabs the string and manipulates its cuts. I'm like, I need to open the docs because I always forget those most of the string manipulation functions. So it could have taken me 10 minutes, 15. I could have pulling my hair, it could take me 20, 25, and that's why I said. Although it should be very easy. That thing should be very easy. Maybe it would take me 5 minutes. I don't know. If I'm focused. That's why I thought, hey, this is something great for the AI. And then I'm spending time with the AI. I'm spending time talking on this video. I'm spending time proving some point by being a factory worker and doing it automatically. And if I started doing it automatically, because I wanted this object, it's not that I'm gonna get new objects. I would have finished in even less, and we wouldn't even have this discussion. And I know this video is dumb. No, later it fixed it and I figured out it it failed in few cases. And the cases where it failed was that everywhere I start with points, lines, and quads. And sorry, quad is the object. Tripod, points, lines, and polys. Points, line, and point. And when I went to cross, and I noticed much later that something was wrong with some polygons in few objects. And I'm like, how did it mess that? Because I started with points, polys, and I put the lines later. Also, these are commented out, but oh, I did manual work. I did that. I went here. Oh, okay, I might go on those lines. I want this. Now it's just one line, not this one. I don't. I wanted to include those. Those are very. Sorry. This is the fact. See, this is for most object. I was too lazy to make line indices. Now, I think this one, I'm gonna write some code to go through every poly and find the edges and find the common edges. I do it before because it's so tedious. Maybe I should use some editor next time. But those were so small polygon objects that I'm like, yeah, I can type the value in. Those are very simple. I don't need to make some blender converter or something. On my CPC demo, these are from these are taken from my demo. And because I wanted some very simple object to test my I ended up with that. I say, yeah, let's not generate, let's extract the simple CPC objects to reuse them. So a day ago when I implemented the polygon, a day or two ago, I realized, because previously when I wanted the conversion, the only thing I had 3D points and lines. And I haven't implemented the polygon, so I didn't know some of my objects are wrong. And I found those two objects, those three objects, maybe two, because it was expecting my C code later. This is something I wrote myself, where I read those. You see, I get the vertex lines and polys by in a row. Then the grid points as I go. The vertex points are following. I have some. This has to do with the engine, vertex points and grid points. And then I get the line indices, but if the line indices are in the other place because the generated data were wrong. Now should the AI be so smart to realize, okay, I analyzed this data in some places, it could have analyzed the data and see that it's not always consistent. A human would have done it, maybe, or he would have noticed it. I don't know. It's not about AI, not AI. It's like, yeah, this is a tool, but it's not the second coming. It's not the second coming of programming. It's not the holy grail. Because you're gonna waste your time. You're gonna pat yourself in the back. Yeah, today you used the AI. You were a good prompt engineer today. Even if it's all wishful thinking. You're gonna offload your work in something else. Lose your focus. But also offload your work. I became lazy. I should have read the Python script, but it would take me more. I could have written some C code. It wouldn't be hard. Oh, it's, they say Python is better for streaming, but even the Python code is complex. Even the Python code, you cannot easily read and say, okay, this reads that and that. It has regular expressions sometimes. It has things. It's not like in C. I don't think the code in C would be bigger necessary. I don't think. So I don't even think Python is magical for. It just has a nicer syntax for something, but it's not. If you do string manipulation, it's always hard. It's always annoying. It's something that I don't do as. I have an easier time writing fixed point 3D stuff and interpolations and things out of my mind without even checking. I have an easier time doing that than string manipulation, and I have done some string manipulations in my time. And I don't think Python makes it so easy that it's a it's a walk in the park. Especially, I guess I'm also not familiar with Python, but even if you are, I think if you are too familiar with C, the code could be all roughly similar even. Or I would have not worried about is it a number, is it not. I would have done it in a different way. I don't know how I would have done it in C. I would still need to read the labels and break them and know and set the next labels. Anyway, I had one more idea. What if we never asked the AI to give us code, but we say, I have this data, I converted. Okay. I'm just curious. Ew. Shit. You know, the AI doesn't understand. Doesn't care about it's written like this, I think. Please don't write. Don't give me Python code this time. I want you as a smart AI to convert the next data I'm gonna give you manually and output the results here. If you internally use Python, I don't care. Just don't give me code. Convert the next similar format. What if I give it, and I'm gonna cut this to not confuse. I'm gonna start from here. New sound. Now maybe this is a big one. So I'm telling it. This is an example of how this. Oh God, I don't know if. Let's see. Maybe it does it. Is it that? Ah, it did it because it was. It doesn't matter. That's okay. Because the spaces went away. Yeah. Okay. I like you. Uh, Maybe that's what I should have asked it. Let's see. This data. And I'm gonna close the video. Drum data. You if you data too. It uses send in the that could work, but I don't have the definition. Why? God, you don't listen to me. Lines commented out. Placeholder. It's even clever to say, "Oh, your original reference." Yeah, maybe it does it. Yeah, maybe that would work. Like take the data and convert them. I don't know. And I'm fighting with the AI. I would be okay. Maybe this is maybe I didn't need the pattern. Maybe I say take this data and make everything like this. It seems to be working if I did compile well. These are the line. It put a zero even. Interesting. Now that seems clever. It's as clever as it can be because the glance. I have commented out the lines. Normally I put one line so that in the in my CPC code I just want it was crashing. Of course I could have checked from for zero, but I don't know why. I just put that it has something. And it was clever enough to say I'm gonna put because there are no data, I'm gonna put a zero. Like zero lines. Interesting. He did a bit of extra. So yeah, sometimes AI seems smart, and it's funny that it was smarter to give the original data and say, and here are another 18 objects that I also want you to unpack. Don't do it with code, do it as an AI, whatever. And it seems to have done it. I need to close this. I wonder about this. Just do because it has the what is it gonna do? Oh my god, it even made the did it do the calculations and put the final numbers? It has. Now that's impressive. So it says I have to do that. It realized, okay, but that has an addition, so I'm gonna. That's on the convert. Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Am I copying in the convert stuff or not? Am I testing the correct thing? I need to stop this, it doesn't matter. So, it even puts comments. That's funny. Oh my god. I'm gonna stop it. There is no reason to prove or disprove something at this point. Maybe it's my adventures. It does it. Now the backface thing is because of problems I have with EGA, so it doesn't matter. I guess it did a better job. And I'm not gonna ask ChatGPT now. I need to close this. And the point is, I still don't believe. It did the calculations. So it look at the data and say, okay, this one I have to also add. This one I have to, you have some comments for the lines, so I have to even put some comment that this is how, this is, so I had to do, and it put zero instead. It put zero for the number of lines, which is correct with that data. And maybe here I'm handling zero. I don't know why on CPC I just put a value 1 and I put from 0 to 1 and you see a line rotating on its own because I didn't want to bother with something. So there were some objects that didn't have any line data. And maybe the Z80 code was, I was in a hurry and just, it was crashing and I'm like, just put one line now. Oh. But the point is, if today AI disappear, will I be like, oh no, I cannot live without AI, I cannot do my job? Maybe I didn't adopt. Maybe I'm reluctant to change. Maybe. And also, I don't see the. I see an extra pipeline in the developing process. The same way people say, "Hey, I can I don't know. I can dockerize things. I can run things on the cloud. I can this is the cool new thing, so I have expanded. I can use this new framework instead of doing things manually, and I have expanded my thing. But now you are adding more. You are adding more noise, and I'm gonna tell you something. Back in the days, and maybe it was 10 years ago, I didn't use GitHub. I didn't use repositories because it was so confusing and such an extra step in the pipeline. But that must be 10 years ago. But it was already an age where people are like, "Are you crazy? You are a programmer. You don't use repositories. What are you doing?" And I would literally be zipping. I would do it rarely out of fear of losing code. I wouldn't do it frequently. I would zip my code and email the zip to myself. Most of the code was small. It wasn't. It was mostly the code. Maybe I wouldn't bother with the data. I would put things in USB sticks. I would have some backup folder with now I have some. It's such a mess here, of course. I would just have some source code put in zip, and I would not use repositories. And I mostly care about backup. I didn't care about I need to go some 10 repositories before in the history to fix a bug. If there was a bug, I would fix it there. The code was still there. The code never disappeared. Okay, maybe you want to find some old code. I will find some old zip file with my code, and that's it. I understand the advantages of GitHub, but why? Why was I reluctant? Because I couldn't make sense of GitHub. I used Mercurials and Subversion. It, it was destroying my flow. And it was something nobody told me, so for me it was a new thing. It felt like this is a new thing everybody's using and it's trendy. And it's the same with AI. And it can save you from things, but it also makes the whole developing process more tedious. And I'm fine with GitHub now. I'm fine because every time I commit I feel so good. I just feel so good with committing because I look at the the commits and I'm like, I did some stuff now. I have private stuff here. Most of my repositories are private, and some of them are experiments. They are things things I never release and I keep it, or variation of the projects. And anyway, guys, that was all about this weird video. I just wanted to rant about things. AI or LLMs, let's say, code generators, they are interesting, and also conversators to discuss various things and get ideas. They're good, but to me it's the same as Google search, social media, YouTube, and so on. It's an extra layer on the internet. It's not it's not a super tool to me. It's not a super tool that magically makes you 10 times productive and never gets in the way and it's so brilliant, so good, and you are just prompted in wrong, bro. I I use it where it makes sense to me, and in some cases it frustrates me, and that's it. So bye.